everybody. My name is Rachel Heberling. I will be your host today on this podcast. We're going to call this the Rachel and Gina Show.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, let's just call it the Rachel and Gina Show.
Okay,
Introduce yourself, Gina.
Hey, I'm Gina. So I'm here to start off this podcast with you today. Glad to be here.
Fantastic. So we were just talking about my cat.
Yeah.
Now, I have a cat that is the largest cat I have ever seen in my life. I think maybe there was one cat that rivaled how large my cat actually is. His name was Pancake, and I think the cat was about 30 pounds. I am not even kidding.
Wow.
Yeah, he was 30 pounds. But Orion, my cat Orion, is 20 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and a lot of that is just that he's a big cat, and a lot of that is that he's fat.
Yeah.
But he's also like 5 pounds of fluff.
Yeah. So, like, how often do you brush your cat?
Yes, I have to brush him constantly because he's always getting mats because of his massive size.
Yeah, yeah.
He's just, he has trouble cleaning himself, which is really annoying.
Yeah.
I put him on probably like 10 diets so far, and nothing has worked.
To, like, make him lose weight?
To make him lose weight,
So you think it's mostly, it's a combination of, like, when you give him a haircut, do you ever give him a haircut?
Yeah, I give him haircuts. The only problem is that he's really fussy about that.
Okay.
So, sometimes he'll be like, oh my God, like, no, don't cut my mats off. And I'm like, listen, it's good for you. You gotta do this. Yeah. So anyway, do you have any insight for me on a very fat, large cat? Oh, and for anybody who wants a visual picture of how large Orion is, look up Norwegian forest cats. I am not kidding. My cat literally looks like a Norwegian forest cat.
Oh, okay. So that's like a wild animal then.
Yeah, that is a wild animal.
I have to look this up then.
Yeah, you're gonna have to look it up. Absolutely. All right. So
so
what do
like
you know?
my cat actually is an 8-pound cat, and which is crazy because she eats a ton. Like literally. I buy the Raye. She's very specific about which food brand she eats. She has to have her dry food plus her wet food. And she eats the Rachel brand tuna Nutrish, I think it's called.
Yeah.
I have to buy on Amazon probably like a 20-pack of that like a month plus her dry food. It's ridiculous. And she eats so much, but she just doesn't gain a pound. And I think mostly has to do with her heart condition, at least what the vet said. But how
old is your cat?
I think she's like 8 now.
She's 8 now? See, Orion's 13.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that he's really fat, he's like the picture of health.
Yeah.
Which is hysterical.
I mean, he's just probably like a bigger build cat, I'm guessing.
Well, he's like part they did like a genetic kind of test like years and years ago. He's like part Ragamuffin, part Maine Coon, and those are both really large breeds.
Oh, okay.
So his official breed is an exotic long hair.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's big cat.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, you were saying about...
So my cat, her name is Meow Meows, by the way, and everyone's always pretty sad with it. But if you met her, she meows a lot, especially when she wants food. And I don't really brush her very frequently, only because I guess I don't know where to brush her. If I bring her inside, I feel like it's gonna get all over the place. If I go over in the garage, maybe. But we give her haircuts like a couple times a year, and then you can really see how tiny she actually is. So I'm curious, when you get her a haircut, or is Orion a girl or a boy?
Orion's a boy, but I don't think he cares.
Yeah, or he's gender neutral.
He's gender neutral.
He doesn't identify with any.
He doesn't
gender.
identify with a gender.
I mean, animals.
He's a cat.
Can animals really? Yeah.
I mean, especially a neutered animal. Can a neutered animal really be like, my identity is a male?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
They have no concept of that.
We like to, what is it called? Like personify or
anthropomorphize.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, when you put human traits.
Personify. Well, anthropomorphize is actually for inanimate objects, and personify is for living things.
Yeah, so you like put like human characteristics to it.
Yeah, exactly.
How like small does he look? Any smaller when you take all?
Oh yeah, he definitely looks smaller. He probably shrinks down to like 2/3 of his size, perceived size. Wow, which is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, and is your only cat? Do you have another cat?
No, I have another cat. I have a cat named Demetria. She is a short hair. She's a brown tiger. Okay. She's sleeping on the chair over there.
Oh.
So yeah. We'll go bother her in a little while.
Okay, sounds good.
But yeah, she's very she's very chill, and she's much skinnier.
Yeah.
She's not as fluffy. She's much skinnier, which is why it's so hard to get Orion to diet. Is that if I pour them certain amounts of food and Demetria finishes eating before Orion does, then Orion is like, oh, more food, and walks over there and starts eating it.
And so she is, how old is...
She's the same age. She's 13 as well. Okay. I adopted them at the same time.
Where did you adopt them from?
Lollipop.
Okay, so actually I was going to mention, so I know I'm a volunteer at Lollipop on the weekends, and they're actually having a special right now, I believe, black cats for free.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because black cats generally are the least adopted breed because of superstition surrounding them.
It was interesting. So I work with students. I work with high school students at my day job. And I was talking to one of the students and how they were scared of cats, and specifically black cats. And I asked why, and they said because of all the superstition and what people say about it. And I was like, well, that's exactly why like these black cats aren't getting adopted, like in shelters. You know what I mean? So I challenged the student obviously to sort of back away from that thought process and things like that. So, but it's interesting how those types of things can really affect. I have a friend at work, and a little bit more about the cat stuff if you guys like cats.
I hope everybody likes cats. It's like, listen, man, this is a podcast all about cats. No, it's not all about cats. No. This is just our first subject today, so if you stuck with us this long, I commend you.
Yeah, hopefully we got a cat crowd. Might talk about some dogs too later, but so actually a quick story, and then we can talk about something else. But so my friend at work, she just moved into the Northern Greece area, and she there was a cat that was wandering in her yard that had a flea collar on. So her husband had picked up the cat because she she didn't know if it was stray or like lost or whatever. And they brought it to Lollipop, and the Lollipop told them like, okay, we do a holding of 5 days if someone claims it, and if they don't, then we put up for adoption or whatever. And so that my friend and her husband actually volunteered to foster the cat for the 5 days, and they fell in love with this cat. Cat ended up having like mites, things like that, which I thought was crazy. It's like this person, if someone did put a flea collar on it, like, oh hey, run outside, walk around, like you didn't bother to like do any other treatments to make sure that.
Well, that's the problem with like flea collars, is that most people don't realize is that you have to buy stuff like the Advantage and Frontier, stuff like that, because that stuff will kill mites and mosquitoes and ticks. Yeah. You have to do the back of the neck thing. And yes, it's a pain in the butt, but it's actually like way more effective than a flea collar is. And I just don't think a lot of people realize this.
Yeah, flea collars aren't super effective. I know with my dog, I do the tablet pills.
Right.
But my cat's indoor. And anyway, what happened? So they actually fell in love with the cat. Cat wasn't even neutered, so they got it neutered. And I guess her mom is gonna keep the cat now. So long story short, I thought it was interesting with I'm glad that they found a home for it and things like that. But there's tons of stray cats out here. Spay and neuter your cats, people.
Yeah, spay and neuter. Should we talk about the trap and release program that some cities are doing? I don't know if they're doing it in Rochester.
They do. Yeah, they do. There's I know Lollipop, I think Verona, or I think there's actually I don't know, there's like actually specific cat rescue programs in the area where I remember, because I remember back in like probably like 10 years ago, I was looking for like part-time jobs or like and it was like they were looking for someone to capture like feral cats. And like the job description was like, okay, you have to like stake out in the middle of the night in these certain areas, and like it just sounded super like intense,
like covert operations kind of thing.
And trap the cats, and then they bring them to the shelter, they spay or neuter them, whatever the case may be. They put an identifying factor on, I think it's like their ear.
Yes, they do. They usually put a notch in the ear.
Yeah, and then they release them back, and it is because they're feral cats. They really can't be like, they're almost like wild animals.
Exactly.
At this point.
They can't be integrated back into like a domestic setting.
Yeah.
But what's great about that is that when they're neutered and spayed and they go and defend their territories, it keeps other cats away.
Yeah.
And it also, yes, and since they're neutered and spayed, they won't have more kittens, so there won't be a population boom.
That's exactly why they do it, but I didn't know about the keeping the other cats away
part. Oh yeah, that's the whole idea behind the re-releasing, is that, speaking of releasing, Orion really wants to go outside.
Is he an outdoor cat too?
He is an indoor-outdoor cat, and I'll tell you why. Because for years I kept them indoors and they kept escaping, and then I realized that they don't go any farther than like the front step.
There you go. Then.
So I'm like, all right. Yeah. I'm like, when I was living in Florida briefly, and yes, I had them then, they were strictly indoor cats, and they got fleas indoors.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know how they got them, but when I brought them to the vet was like, oh yeah, welcome to Florida.
Oh, because it's so warm.
Because it's so warm that fleas just proliferate.
Huh.
So I've been giving them flea treatments, for years now, and I'm like, all right, well, if you want to go outside, go outside. And I mean, there is a huge case for keeping your cats indoors, especially if your cats are very bad at defending themselves. If you live on a busy street, this is an extremely quiet neighborhood. They don't go far, so, that may be controversial to let my cats outside, but at the same time, I've weighed the pros and cons, and I've decided that they are allowed to go out, just for a couple hours a day. Yeah. If we go out, if the whole family goes out, then they have to come in. They're not allowed to just stay outside while we're gone. But if we're nearby, they can go outside. He's already lost interest.
Oh no. I think it's
I don't know what he's doing now.
A matter of gauging your cat, right? Like if your cat's gonna be one that will wander wherever, I mean, it's also gauging your environment, your cat, understanding that, and making the proper choice, you know what I mean? So I think in your case, you understand, if your cat, with the situation, and I think it's, you wouldn't do anything, at least you would hope, the owner wouldn't, some people just hoard cats, I think, or just stray cats, but I think in this case, it sounds like you made a logical decision. You want to go outside, and it's a safe, quiet neighborhood, so.
Exactly, safe, quiet neighborhood. Yeah. I feel like that was the biggest determining factor.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back. I think you wanted to discuss organization in Marie Kondo.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be back in just a moment. Thank you. All right, Gina, so tell me about my eyebrows, because what's funny about my eyebrows is that they're completely painted on.
Okay.
Yes. So,
yeah.
Because I am naturally blonde, and here's the weird thing, is that my hair is like a dark ash, but my eyebrows are kind of like a bleach blonde.
Yeah.
Now, I would have preferred it if it was the other way around. I would have preferred to have a bleach blonde head and then dark eyebrows, but you get what you get.
Yeah, because you always dye your hair, so it'd be perfect if you had just bleach white almost hair, right?
Right. So yeah, but the problem is that my hair is this kind of purpley color now. Mm. And
that's not dye, that's natural? The purple?
The purple?
Yeah.
Yeah, the dye is it's dye. Are you kidding me?
You said purpley color, so I didn't know if that purple part was part of your it just kind of started making your hair purple now. No?
No.
Okay.
That's not how it works.
Okay.
You've dyed your hair
No, but I just got confused a little because you said purpley color, so.
Purpley color. Oh
it's okay. God. I get what you're saying.
So you're thinking I'm taking a pill to make my hair purple?
I didn't know if you've dyed it purple so much now that that
it just stays purple.
It's now just grows in purple.
No, okay. That's not a thing that happens. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so the idea being is that because my hair is purple, my bleach blonde eyebrows don't look right.
Yeah.
So I've filled them in with there's this great stuff called Tattoo Studio. Yeah. Where you basically just sort of glob on and sort of brush in this dark brown color.
Okay.
And then I can make my eyebrows look however I want. Plus, I don't have naturally thick eyebrows anyway.
Yeah.
So I can make them as thick or as thin as I want. Because my genetics are just oh, you wanted eyebrows? No. You get bleach blonde wisps of nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm sorry, you were going to say something about microblading.
Microblading? No, actually, threading.
Oh, threading.
Yeah, so I was talking about, because your eyebrows look great today.
Thank you.
And I was talking, because last time I get my eyebrows threaded, so I used to wax them.
Here, keep talking. I'm going to grab you your coffee.
Yeah. So I used to wax my eyebrows, get them waxed. I've been probably getting my eyebrows done since, so I'm 28 right now. So probably since...
Wait, you're 28?
I'm 28, yeah.
Wow. In my mind, you were still 23. So.
Oh my god, because that's how old I was, and I think
when we met, you were 21.
I
think you were 21 when we met.
Yeah, I might have been before.
God, how long ago was
It's
that?
whenever you started working at Wegmans.
Right.
Whatever year that was. Because I started working at Wegmans when I was 18 or 19. I can't remember.
That's right, and then I came back from Florida and started back up at Wegmans.
Okay.
What was that, like 2011?
I have no idea.
I think that was 2011.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Go.
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk about.
I know. I'm 28 now. It's like what
threading.
Anyways,
threading.
Yeah, threading. So, have you ever done? You probably haven't done waxing or threading on your eyebrows before, have you?
Never had to.
Yeah, never had to probably. So, so I've probably been getting my eyebrows waxed. I started doing that in like middle school, maybe high school. I can't remember. I think it was like middle school. And I always did that. You know, my eyebrows. I'm Italian, so I have darker hair. I wouldn't say they're super full. Like, I know some people who are, like, Middle Eastern or Indian, Nepali, like, those regions of Asia who have, like, really full, beautiful eyebrows. You could just, like, do anything with it. But I've always had, like, you know, just a little bit bushier eyebrows, right? So I get them shaped by waxing. And in the past few years, I started going to threading. So I don't know if you know what threading is. I think it's more common in, like, New York City, things like that. But there's some studios up here now. And what they do is they have, like, a thread. Mm-hmm. And it's usually people who work these shops. So I think the threading comes from like Indian sort of culture,
right.
And because so they have like a thread, and they put part of the thread in their mouth, and then like they hold the other two ends of the thread, so they make it real tight. And like essentially, basically, like what happens is the thread like wraps around the hair and then pulls it out, which isn't as painful as it sounds. Certain areas are more painful. But what I like about it better is that it seems to make a more precise brow line when you do it. It's a little bit more cleaner, right? So, but I've been doing that, and like right now, my eyebrows, last time I went threading though, the girl, I didn't notice till after I left. I got in my car, put my mirror down, I was like, dang. I was like, one eyebrow is way thinner than the other. I was like, well, what am I gonna do now? I can't go back. I mean, if I go back in there, like, wish you can just make the other eyebrow thinner, and then that would be bad. So I just been filling them in actually recently. Right now I don't have them filled in, you know, just kind of hanging out. But
because it's morning. I mean,
yeah.
It's not morning anymore.
No, it's not.
But in my world, on my days off, it's morning.
It's still morning, yeah.
It's still morning on my days off, so yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you take your coffee black, or do you take any sugar or cream?
Do you have almond milk?
I have coconut milk. How's that sound? All right.
Sounds even better. So I haven't got my eyebrows done. I've been kind of waiting it out. I think I'm going to get them done tomorrow, actually, when I return to work, because I work at UVAR, and right near UVAR is this place called Sujana's where I get my brows done. And they do a pretty good job, but the last time, like I said, I don't know. But anyways, so I get it done that way, and right now they're just super bushy, and it's just driving me nuts, but I gotta get them, you know, I gotta wait it out.
In case you need more.
Yeah, I gotta just wait it out and get them done, and keep them like fuller before I get them done or anything like that. Right,
yeah.
But I do like it. This depends on the technique. I know Sujana, the owner, she does a great job. She does it so delicately. And then some people I know who just kind of like rip the hair out, and it's pretty painful. But either way, they're supposed to say, like, you know, it doesn't grow back as fast, this and that. But my hair grows back within 2 weeks. Doesn't matter what you do. So
yeah, that's
Italian. So
I was gonna say that's some people's genetics. You know, what's hysterical is that like I'm actually a quarter Sicilian.
Really?
Yeah, but you would
is
never.
It your mom's side, right?
Yeah, my mom's father was completely Sicilian, but you would never know it because I didn't get any of the genes.
Yeah.
I got all these German and Irish genes, you know, from my father's side and from my grandmother's side, and all I've got is just this like lack of hair.
Yeah.
Except my leg hair. My leg hair is insane. I mean, you can't really see it right now because I shaved, but my leg hair is absolutely disgusting.
Really?
Yes, it's so
Mine
gross.
grows like I was at the park yesterday with my friend. We're having some lunch at the Ontario Beach Park. I don't normally go there, but I was telling her, like, I was sitting there. I felt like the hair in my leg had grown as I sat there in the 2 hours. Like, I was like, what? Like, I told you, like, I was telling us after, I'm like, my hair was not this long afterwards. When I first got here.
Listen, man, I'm getting 5 o'clock shadow
I
on
really
my legs.
I do.
Oh, my God. Yeah, no, for real. I mean, I feel like that's the only place I'm really hairy, though, is, like, my legs. And it's like, you're trying to keep it clean, especially since I'm so pale.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, you know, fresh off the boat from Ireland kind of pale.
Yeah.
and I mean, you've got
arms here.
Well, yeah, we can compare arms. I mean, I've got a bit of a tan on the outside of my arms. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, if you compare your arm to my leg or your leg to my leg, I mean, it's pretty clear that I'm a ghost. Pretty I'm haunting the place.
Yeah.
So,
but I know some people who are like more, what is it called? Scandinavian, right? That's Iceland, things like that.
Scandinavia,
like
Scandinavia.
Very, very just they're very
just so white. Yeah. So I don't know. It's I actually saw an infographic one time where they showed skin colors based on origin.
Yeah.
So what they showed is that the closer you get to the equator, the darker. I mean, if that's where your ancestry is from, the closer you get to the equator, the darker your skin tone is, and the farther away you get, the lighter your skin tone is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And just with the humans' ability to migrate the way they do, we've just kind of gone all over, and I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually think about this a lot, and I think I talked about this with someone yesterday too. And oh my gosh, he looks so cute.
Oh yeah, Orion's in his box. Yeah, we were actually gonna decorate that box.
Yeah.
Put material on it so that it's nice and comfortable for him. But yeah, he's just claimed that box, and now it's his box.
Cute. We
had some papers in there. I'm gonna grab my coffee. You start talking about what you need to.
So, it's interesting. I always think about this because when you think about race, I was a psychology major in college, and I took a lot of classes where how race is socially constructed, and your ethnicity is your origins of kind of where you were born and things like that, right? And I just think it's a very interesting topic. So when you start thinking about it, I work with a lot of students in the city school district for my job, and I'll help them register for an SAT, and on the SAT, just in any application, it will have the race boxes, you have to check off which race it is. I think they have African American, they have white, Caucasian, or whatever, Asian. What is it? I don't know what the other categories are.
They have a Latino, Caucasian Latino, or non.
That's not
Latino
under race,
Caucasian.
though.
That's not under race.
Yeah, so that's why they get confused. So my Hispanic students, when they get to the race part, it will be we'll ask you if you're Hispanic or non-Hispanic, and then it depends on the application. But when it gets to the race part, sometimes it doesn't have anything Hispanic, and I'll have students who are Hispanic. Obviously, right. Some people who are Hispanic.
Do you need a spoon?
Yeah, I could just use your spoon. Yeah. Some people who are Hispanic are darker skinned depending on where they originate from, and some people are very white, such as people from Spain, things like that.
Right.
But then there's the students who are maybe from Puerto Rico or something, and they have very white skin, but they don't consider themselves black, they don't consider themselves white, and then they're on this application and they're well, what do I check? Because they don't feel like they're part of that white privilege group, I feel which is understandable because they're not treated that way by society. And so they don't feel like I'm not white. And I'm
not white.
I guess aesthetically, physically you look white. Do you know what I mean? But they don't identify with that culture. I think it's just a very confusing.
I knew a girl from Puerto Rico in Florida who had white skin, red hair. You would never know that she was from Puerto Rico. I mean, in our preconceived notions, you would never know that she was from Puerto Rico until she started speaking. We're going to move on to a different subject. Let's take a break, and we'll be back. Bye. We're back. Gina, you wanted to talk about the Marvel movies because when we were on our break, we started talking about that.
Yeah.
So I have a confession. I have not seen Endgame.
What? I thought you did.
No, the reason I didn't see it was because I kept putting it off, and then it was out of theaters. So
my god, I saw it 3 times in theaters. I would have seen it with you one of those times, but I thought you had seen it because I saw you post on Facebook, I didn't want to see it. People had responded, so I was oh, she's good. And I was I figured you already
I was supposed to go see it, and honestly, I don't remember exactly what happened, but for some reason, I never... That's right. I think I was supposed to go see it, and I was sick.
Oh, okay.
I was sick with something. Mm-hmm. I had a migraine or some garbage, and I didn't end up going.
It's on DVD now.
Oh, it's on DVD?
Yeah, or you could Amazon too. Amazon or DVD.
Yeah, if it's on Amazon Prime, then I'm all set. Yeah. All right. So we need to talk about that. But did you see Captain Marvel?
I did see Captain Marvel.
You did see Captain Marvel. So let's talk about Captain Marvel.
Did you see Captain Marvel?
I loved Captain Marvel. So go ahead and say what you have to say about Marvel movies in general, particularly focusing on Captain Marvel because, you know, like an idiot, I'm like, I haven't seen Endgame yet. I do know that certain people die.
Yeah.
But,
So there might be some spoilers.
So if you haven't seen stuff, you know, just sort of like skip over this part of the podcast.
Yeah. Or if you want to, you know, whatever.
Or if you just want to, you know, hear it.
Because to me, I hear it and I still want to see it. So, but wait, so do you want me to not give out spoilers for Endgame though, since you have not seen that yet?
I know certain spoilers for Endgame.
Okay, what do you know?
And what do I know?
Yeah.
I have been told that our dear Tony Stark dies.
Okay. Do you want me to confirm or deny?
Do not confirm or deny.
Okay, gotcha.
Do not confirm or deny.
Okay.
Let's talk about Captain Marvel.
Okay.
So,
yeah. So,
what did you think about that?
So honestly, I love the Marvel movies. I took a quick break from them for some reasons. That I won't go into, I guess, because it will bore you. But then I saw Endgame, and I was like, oh my god, I got back on that stream. But Captain Marvel I saw after I saw Endgame, actually.
Okay.
Did not see it in the theater.
Well, it's funny, because it's relevant to the movies, but at the same time, it's like a prequel.
Yeah, and I think, like, all the movies...
all the movies tie in somehow.
So, yeah, I feel like you can go see a movie, one of the Marvel MCU movies, and I believe there's 22 films now. After the Far From Home Spider-Man came out, which I have seen as well.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and which within a span of 10 years they created, and which ended the Far From Home, which was, Far From Home ended phase 4, which is they're in phases, right? So, the thing is with the Marvel movies, you can go in, watch one of the movies, and not see the other ones, though it makes it a little less exciting, because when you watch them in order, you kind of get everything intertwined. So really quick before I talk about Captain Marvel, what I started doing is, as you can tell, when the movies were made, they were not made in chronological order based on the storyline.
Right.
So you can go on IMDb and you can look, or I forget, you can just Google it, and you can watch it in chronological order. In chronological order, the first movie, story-wise would be Captain America, the First Avenger, then Captain Marvel would be second. So it's very interesting, and Captain Marvel really brought a lot of, I think, background information that, like, made you understand a lot of different things, which I really loved about it. My favorite part about it was how we found out how Nick Fury got his missing eye.
Yes.
Which was just hilarious.
I thought that was extremely clever. I really enjoyed that part.
I always thought it was something bigger, but it's not. And if you watch Captain Marvel, if you have seen Far From Home, have you seen Far From Home?
No.
Oh my gosh. You will understand, so Captain Marvel, if the ending of Far From Home, the after credit scenes, you will not understand Far From Home, Spider-Man Far From Home after credit scenes unless you see Captain Marvel. So Captain Marvel is a very crucial, I think, very...
just hit my knee.
Oh, yeah, I hate what happens.
I'm sorry.
A lot of contextual information that is given for the MCU. So, what were your thoughts about...
So Captain Marvel, I have to say, what I really enjoyed about Captain Marvel was the fact that it was set in the 90s and they had all of my favorite 90s music playing in it. I mean, what was so cool, I mean, at least what I thought was so cool, was that Veers, I think she's called Veers at that point, Carol Danvers, she's called Veers at that point in the movie, was wearing a 9 Inch Nails shirt, which is so cool. I feel like, what was it set in, like 95? 94?
I think 94 sounds right. Yeah,
94 and 95, which is right around the time that she puts on that outfit that she finds, where she's wearing the 9 Inch Nails shirt, which makes sense because 9 Inch Nails really, like, got big in 94. And she's wearing, like, a flannel because grunge was still relevant. Although I kind of think that playing I'm Just a Girl by what's that band? No Doubt. Gwen Stefani.
I totally forgot about the music.
Totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
That they're playing I'm Just a Girl at the big fight scene, and I feel like that was just so on the nose.
Oh, I think I do remember this now. Yeah.
It was just kind of a little overkill. It's like, oh, okay, it's like this, but maybe they meant to do that. Maybe that was supposed to be like an homage to like this kind of like 90s thing where there's a bunch of cheesy kind of music playing. I mean, not that the song itself is cheesy, but the juxtaposition of this, like, big fight scene where this girl is, like, fighting everybody and I'm just a girl is playing in the background.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe it's kind of an homage to, like, that sort of, like, 90s thing where it's, like, everything is just so obvious, you know what I'm saying?
Well, like, I feel like, in general, the MCU series has this good, like, mix of, like, seriousness, action, plus, like, comedy, which I think, like, Captain Marvel really, like, encompassed that, you know? And I think, like, I don't know if it's supposed to be, like, a cheesy in that way, but it's supposed to be a little cheesy. Do you know what I mean? I think with that, I found that Captain Marvel, honestly, like, it was kind of, like, cheesy, but, like, in a I'm supposed to be sort of.
Right, so
sort
intentional.
Of, yeah, so I think that was, like, also, I noticed with the movie, if you see Endgame, you'll find, like, you'll be more impressed by Captain Marvel. This is more of your introductory movie. Right. So if you've seen it, a lot of her powers are restrained within the whole movie with the, I forget what the group of people is that is restraining them.
Let's see. The Skrulls were the shapeshifters.
The Skrulls were the good ones.
Who ended up being the good ones in the end. I mean, they started out as the bad guys. What were the other guys called?
I can't remember.
Oh man, that's gonna drive me crazy. It's like
I could look it up right now.
Yeah, but just look it up. It was like the I don't know, what were they called?
Who are the bad people in Captain Marvel?
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what comes up. Will it say the Skrulls or will it say the
Well, the Skrulls, let's see. Who is the villain in Captain Marvel? Kree. That's who it is. The Kree.
Which is funny to me that they called them the Kree because Kree is the name of a Native Canadian tribe that exists in, like, Saskatchewan. So that's weird to me. I mean, spelled differently. But
yeah, like, so, like, if you think about it, this is off topic. So, like, Tazrak, right? And Thor's Tazrak, or the Tazrak, you know. I also I have a medicine. It's like a acne medicine that's also called Tazrak. It is spelled a little different though. I think.
I thought. I was gonna say it's spelled slightly differently.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about. All right, so back to the subject at hand. You were going to go through. The Mickey universe.
Yeah, so I watched the Comic-Con release, and. So, as you know, Phase 4 ended with Spider-Man Far From Home, so we're moving into Phase 5 now with a few different changes.
Okay.
Super excited, also kind of like Zach, it's gonna be a big difference if you've seen Endgame, and a lot of changes. You know, we're kind of going to a whole different phase, obviously. A lot of new characters will be entering the MCU. So anyways, interesting thing about Disney Plus. So we have coming out, actually. So in 2021, we have 2020, I think, is the first one coming out in February, is Black Widow. So Black Widow will have her own movie.
Is she still going to be played by Scarlett Johansson?
Still played by Scarlett Johansson.
Okay.
And that's kind of like going backwards because now we're.
So is that like a prequel for her, kind of thing?
Yeah, I would. What do you mean by prequel?
So prequel is when they take like the backstory of a character and then they set it like sometime in the past.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Okay.
So definitely, because that will probably give more information to like what's going to be going forward in the new movies. So I think February 2020, let me actually get the real release times here. I know, I think it's Black Widow. Then 2020 also is coming out as the Eternals, which is a whole new subset of people, which was, they were talked about briefly in, I think, Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay.
So if you watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah, which I didn't see, of course.
Or I think it's 1 or 2, you'll get a little bit of information about the Eternals. It's going to be a little bit more complex storyline. And I don't know too much about it. I haven't read the comics, so I really do want to start reading the comics. And I know that I think it's just getting more celestial, in my opinion. Let's see. Also, what's coming out is Black Panther 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings in 2021. We got Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in 2021 as well. So they have released, coming out in the next 2 years, I guess. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies for Phase 5. But additionally, Disney Plus, if you haven't heard of it yet, is Disney's making their own streaming network now. coming out in November, which will probably combat Netflix a little bit, as Netflix will have to take down a lot of their Disney stuff. Actually, they're going to take down all their Disney
Pretty
stuff.
much all their Disney stuff,
crazy.
yeah.
It's going to really hurt.
Netflix is going to be hurting.
It's going to be hurting, and I feel like they're already hurting because their subscriptions have actually been reduced lately. Like,
that's true, because the shows that are really popular, aside from the Netflix originals, generally aren't getting picked up by the network, the Netflix streaming network, which is kind of bizarre. I mean, like, you have most of the Fox favorites, like the cartoons like Family Guy, The Simpsons are all on Hulu.
Yeah.
And then Amazon Prime is picking up a lot of stuff as well. Uh-huh. And then you're going to have this Disney Plus, and it's going to be like, all right, so who subscribes to Netflix anymore? I feel like the subscription services are all going to have to reduce their fees a little bit, because it's going to become prohibitive to afford all these
streaming services.
Streaming services.
Yeah, we can get to that a little bit after I tell you the release of those, because I kind of want to talk about that a little bit more. So Disney Plus coming out in November. Like I said, a lot of those Marvel shows that are on Netflix are going to have to be taken down. And I think it's a gradual process from what I have read. But, so what's happening is there's going to be TV series on Disney Plus with these same actors from the movies that will be on Disney Plus, and it will basically be feature-length films broken up into a TV series. So it's going to be a short series. It's not going to be super long, probably not going to be multiple episodes of it, maybe like 5-6 episodes. And it's going to be a feature-length film, so probably like hour shows, maybe like 7-8 episodes. Same actors from the movies, which will be kind of cool. So what those shows are going to do, though, is they're going to stream and they're going to filter into those movies coming out. So those new releases in the MCU are you're going to have to watch these Marvel shows on Disney Plus to understand the new release movies for the MCU.
Oh, so basically you're just going to have to get Disney Plus. If you're a Marvel fan, you will absolutely have to get it.
If you want to understand
That's tricky.
the remaining of the MCU series and continue to understand it, you're going to have to watch these episodes. You're just going to have to. And what they are, so the same actors, so we have Falcon and Winter Soldier coming out in fall 2020.
Okay.
So same actors. We have, Loki on Disney Plus as well. So Loki's going to have his own show. If you watch Endgame, you'll kind of understand. I don't want to spoil anything for you right here, Rachel, but you'll understand, because, if you've seen the other Avengers movies, Loki had died in the past.
Loki died like 500 times.
Yeah. He died 500 times. So in this one, you'll see kind of...
where he went?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't want to spoil too much for you, but if you see it, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So Loki will have a show that will kind of give you sort of, after what happened in Endgame, will show you what happened to him, basically. There's also going to be... Oh, I forgot, there's going to be a Thor movie coming out, Love and Thunder. Did I say that? Or no, I don't think I said that. Thor, Love and Thunder is also coming out. It's another movie coming out.
Cool.
And I think that's 2021.
All right, Gina, I'm going to stop you there because this segment has gotten pretty long. So why don't we move on? Let's take a break and move on to the Marie Kondo stuff that we wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Yes, and we can absolutely revisit the Marvel Universe in future podcasts. If you liked this content, please let us know. And we'll talk more Marvel because, we'll just do that. Okay. All right, we'll be back after the break. Folks, so we're going to be doing our last segment here. By the way, if you've enjoyed any of the transition music, that is all original music by me in this particular podcast, you can find this music by searching The Raye Black. That's Raye Black. I'm on Spotify, I'm on Amazon, I'm on iTunes, Deezer. I don't know anybody who uses Deezer, but
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, but apparently it's a streaming site. So we're going to talk about Marie Kondo. So Marie Kondo has been really big in the news lately because she's been doing this what people consider to be a revolutionary sort of tidying up thing, which is I'm sure Gina can expand on that because I'm actually the only thing I'm familiar with is if something doesn't bring you joy, get rid of it.
Yeah. Basically, I mean, so where did I first see Marie Kondo? I saw her on Stephen Colbert's show, and I was like, wow, okay. This sounds like, I know I've always had trouble, like, I organize things, right? And then, like, you know, it lasts for a couple weeks, and then it's, like, back to what it used to be,
back
right?
to a mess, always.
And, you know, you kind of relapse. So I saw her on Stephen Colbert, and she has a Netflix show. I think it's, like, Tiny with Marie Kondo. Just put Marie Kondo in, you'll find her.
Yeah.
And she has, basically, I believe they all take place in California, all the people she helps, but she comes to their house. She has this method, where you have to follow you have to follow it very strictly, and, to keep your house tidy or whatever it is, and she'll come and she'll help you tidy your house, but you have to use this method. So the method is you have to so I'm reading her book right now, actually, and I'm in the final chapter of it, because I kind of want to start the process after I finish reading, and the method is you have to do it in this order. If you don't do it in this order, it can screw everything up. So you have to start with clothing, and then after clothing, I can't remember the exact order. Hold on a second.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Why don't you look up the order, because I feel like this is kind of just expanding on this sort of idea that already exists, where, you know, you don't keep things you're not using, and you sort of like a place for everything and everything in its place, which is an old concept, I kind of feel like, but if I've never been able to implement it, then maybe I need something extreme like Marie Kondo's.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just so disorganized, and I feel like that's partially because I have such bad ADD. Even as an adult, you know, I have attention deficit, and I'll start cleaning and I'll start getting things together, and then I'm just kind of like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. I'd rather go play guitar or something, you know? I lose interest in it quickly. And then in the meantime, you know, while I'm rushing around trying to get everything else done in my life, then everything else becomes a mess. It's like, oh, I've left out, you know, XYZ, you know, ABC, you know, this sort of stuff. So I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
What was it? The Marie Kondo steps.
So basically, like you said, so you have to do it this. You have to organize, do clothing first, then books, then papers, and then she has this thing called kimono, which I believe is Japanese for, like, miscellaneous items.
Okay.
And then after you do miscellaneous items, you end with sentimental items, and you have to follow this order, otherwise she says that, like, it will not work, basically. And like you said, you're right, like, so the whole method is first you start with your clothes, and the way she does it is you have to take, when you do the clothes, when you do books, when you do all the other things, you do not organize by space. So, like,
okay, so you can't do it by space.
No, because, and it makes a lot of sense, because say if you start organizing your bedroom, right? You say, I'm going to organize my bedroom this weekend. And you do all that stuff, and you put your clothes in a certain place, and you put everything in a certain place, and then the next week you go to organize your, like, say, another room in your house.
Okay.
And maybe there's clothes in that room, right?
Right.
So now you're like, dang, I already organized clothes in my bedroom, and now I'm finding more clothes, or you're finding more things. So if you do it by space, because items are usually not, when you are first starting the organization process, items are usually just spread all over your house, right? So what she says is take all your clothes, all the clothes in your house that belong to you, or, you know, if you're doing it with your family or however your living space is, and you put them all in one place in a pile, and you do it by item. That way you're not repeating the same thing over and over again, and you're doing it by objects, you know what I'm saying? So you put all your clothes in a pile, and you hold the item of clothing, and you says, does the item of clothing make you feel joy, or does it not? And you know, it might sound a little silly, but I mean, in actuality, I look at my closet, and so many things that my mom has given me as hand-me-downs, like, oh, I don't want this anymore. Have I ever touched it? No, you know?
Right. So it makes sense.
I have no joy with those items. And if it doesn't make you feel joy, then you put it in a discard pile and you donate it or whatever.
Donate it, which is better. I highly recommend donating things. There are plenty of needy people out there. There are plenty of organizations that are very happy to take your clothes. Donate.
Definitely. And also Planet Earth boxes. So you can look online where the Planet Earth boxes are. If you have items of clothing that you think are not usable anymore, like old underwear, things that have rips in it, they will take those textiles and recycle them. So textiles are really bad for landfills. It's a little environmental rant.
Yeah, go ahead. That's
so you
fine.
can put them in Planet Earth boxes, and they will actually recycle the textile material. So
that's really useful.
Yeah.
I had no idea that existed.
Yeah, you have to look online where they're located.
Where they're located?
There's one at Abundance Co-op, I know, in the city.
Oh yeah, is that on on Marshall Street?
No, it used to be on Marshall Street. They moved to South Wedge, so that's
South Wedge.
South Avenue.
South Avenue? Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely have to look that up. But so talking about Marie Kondo, organizing by item is actually a very revolutionary idea to me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the problem with me personally is that I try to do room by room by room. Mm-hmm. And then by the time I've gotten through all the rooms, the first room is a mess again. Mm-hmm. And again, like I said, the ADD, I'm just like, well, I don't quite feel like doing this anymore. And ever since we sold my grandmother's house and we've inherited a bunch of her stuff, my living room is just full of stuff that we're not ready to get rid of. It brings us joy still. We just can't get it organized.
Yeah. And that's an interesting topic. So, like, she says you end with sentimental things, right?
You end with
because those are difficult. Those are the things you're going to take longer to honestly, like, figure out, should I need this or not? And she brought up a really great point in, I think, one of her episodes where this one guy had, like, for instance, like, sentimental items. He had a mailbox of the house that he first bought. And he had taken it off the house and he put a new mailbox on. And she said to him, does this object bring you joy? And he was like, does the object himself bring you joy? He was like, not really. He was like, but it's a reminder. And she talks about how, like, do we need these objects to remind us of these memories, though? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you mean.
And I think there's some items that are, like, yes, you keep, but some of them are, like, don't be scared to let go of things because you're going to lose the memory.
Right, that's exactly it. Like, there's certain things, like my grandmother's rocking chair is something we're definitely going to keep no matter what.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's some things that we've inherited that are probably, we could probably stand to donate them because they're reminders more so than they are like objects that are really of sentimental value.
Yeah. And she likes to put sort of like what did we say? Not personification, but what was the other one we were talking about?
Anthropomorphization.
Yeah. So, for instance, like, she says, like, before you discard an item, like, thank the item for what it did for you. And even if it was minimal, maybe it was just like, thank you for whatever it did for you. Thank you for being that one shirt I wore this one time. Or thank you for, if it's a shirt you don't like or whatever, thank you for showing me what I don't like. Do you know what I mean? And get rid of it because you're giving it respect to the item, because she says that, like, the item, and it sounds a little silly, but the item is not necessarily being respected by you just hanging on to it and not doing anything with it. That's passing it forward and having it used for something else is more respectful.
More respectful. Yeah. And that's interesting because I remember we were talking on the break about this, about how you're probably going to give your objects more care if you do sort of treat them as though they have hearts, brains, souls, that kind of thing. Yeah. You have to respect your items.
And if you're surrounded by things that only bring you joy,
then you will respect them.
And you'll feel more joyful. So a big clue, really quick, she says the first thing you need to do is, first you got to commit yourself to tidying. So you got to commit. And you can't elongate the process. I know if you watch the show, it probably happens over like a 30-day span for doing a whole house. But you have to commit and you have to do it all at kind of one time. And obviously one day, but it needs to be...
But it needs to be over a certain span of time.
Yeah.
And you need to commit to doing it every day.
Yep. And then another thing she mentioned, which I need to do still, is imagine what your ideal lifestyle is. So in her book, she mentions, like, one of her customers, her ideal lifestyle was have a girly, feminine sort of space. She's like, well, let's be more specific. What does that mean? She's like, well, I imagine myself drinking tea at night, doing yoga, and like taking a bath, and making a space for that. So imagine what your ideal space looks like, and write that down. What do you want your space? What is your lifestyle in the space you want it to be? After that, she says you have to discard. So you have to do all those categories of discarding first. Okay. Before you even think about putting them in homes and giving them homes.
Okay.
So the discarding process needs to happen. You cannot organize before you
get rid of what you're going to get rid of. That makes sense to me.
Then you have to tidy by category and not by location, like we've already mentioned. And then you have to continue to follow that order, like I said. So by making sure everything that is around you sparks joy. So she says very very strict rules in those senses, and there's a few things I disagree about, and maybe I don't know if I can stick with, but for the most part, it makes a lot of sense, and I'm willing to, maybe next time we have this show,
we can go on about
I
this.
can tell you how my experience is, because I have finished the book, and I will start, and I can update you on my recondo tidying experience.
Well, that sounds fantastic. It sounds like we still have a lot of stuff to talk about, but we're going to have to leave that for next time, because it's beyond lunchtime, and I'm actually kind of hungry.
Yeah.
And plus, behind the scenes here, we've actually been talking for quite a bit, and I believe, we're ready to give our voices a rest. So, Gina, thank you so much for coming out and doing this podcast with me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
I don't know. Maybe we need to think of a better name for this. Like, I'm sure Coffee Chat is taken.
If you have any suggestions.
I mean, maybe we'll come up with something preliminary. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this podcast, please give us some feedback. So yeah, I don't know what capacity this will be uploaded in, but give us some feedback, and maybe we will have something a little more concrete in the future. Anyway, signing off for now, I'm Rachel Heberling.
And I'm Gina Ignati.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.